fáilse le gach duine atá an seochanis daoine atá ag éisteacht agus ag féin the live streaming of this service for the recovery of our son, brother, uncle Finbar, who lost his life on the 19th of April at Bakhmut on the eastern side of Ukraine, helping Solidarity Collective in their fight to help the Ukrainian people to get back their freedom. Side by side, his comrades Dmitry Petrov and Cooper Andrews were also killed after coming under sustained and heavy mortar attack. Efforts are continuing to recover and repatriate the remains of Finbar and to bring him home. That reminds us of us Achill people here, how valiant we are at times like this. We come together, we want to bring the body home. And I am moved by one man in Irish history, Tom Clark, one of the signatories of the 1916 Irish Rebellion. Upon hearing sad news of the death of Donovan Rossa in New York, sent a telegram immediately to John Devoy in New York with a simple message: bring him home. A similar situation occurred right here on our own island. When word is received that 10 of our fine young men had perished in a fire at a bothy in Kirkintulla in Scotland, the word was made loud and clear from the Achill people to the De Valera government: bring them home. Finally, I would like to thank people on the ground in Ukraine who are involved in the recovery and repatriation of Finbar. Good Achill man Gary Corrigan, from just over the road here, who is attached to the Irish Embassy in Kiev. Luke Boland from the Department of Foreign Affairs in Dublin. Bodan was Finbar's commander with Solidarity. His great friends were Anton and Rudy in the Solidarity Collective humanitarian group. I want to pay a special word of thanks to Morgan, who drove through the evening, night and early morning to deliver this ghastly message to us here on Achill Island. Thank you, Morgan. To Finbar's comrades in Shelter Sea, the Mediterranean, CPK, Syria and Ukraine, his friends nationally and internationally. To the people of Achill and the Achill diaspora, thank you for your support via telephone calls, texts, WhatsApps, emails, letters and cards of condolence. People who called to our house, and also those who gave us the privacy to grieve. I want to pay a special tribute to my own family, Celine, Maeve, Eamon, Colm and Orla, for their unstinting work. Get to the bottom of this. They, like me, would like to have their brother home. And I would like to bring him home. And we'll bring him home, Lacuna J.
We're now just going to listen to a song that was composed and performed by Finbar that was about the struggle up in Rossport.
The council evicted out the camp. They said, "You'll mark the ground." But their hypocrisy was plain to see, for the vultures then gathered round. It's one law for the multinational, and another for the rest of the land. And the dogs, they started tearing up the lovely Glengad strand. Well, the pipelayer's captain was told not to come, and then he was told once more. He was warned, "You will face trouble if you e'er come near our shores." But the shell suits whispered, "Don't be worrying, the guards' fists will make it grand." And so the solitaire steamed from Killybegs toward the lovely Glengad strand. There the Dutchman looked out from his bridge, and his heart it filled with woe. There were trawlers, ribs and kayaks, and a hunger strike on the shore. The shellbucks called, "We are waiting to winch your pipe to land." But no answering signal did go in to the lovely Glengad strand. The captain said, "Boys, I've seen enough. This crack here, it is no joke. We'll take the sledge to Don Crane tonight, and we'll let on that she has broke." Well, the tears, they swept down the shellboys' cheeks. They cried, "A wheelia wallia." And a roar down from the hillside came, "A Raila Shelchan Solia." Now that battle, we did win it well, but our long war, it still goes on. It's been forced on us by gangsters who know the value of nothing. Sing loud the name of Shell to Sea, our staunch and stalwart band. For when needs be again, we'll join to defend the lovely Glengad strand.
Listening to that song, you get the idea of the passion Finbar had for what he was involved in. This passion for life and for the truth to be known. He was defending the Glengad strand in that case, and the environment, and like a protector for the environment. But I'm a little bit nervous now. I'll gather my words. I don't have a script. I'm just feeling into this moment. We're all here together in heart. Anyone who knew Finbar knew he was coming from his heart with what he did. His actions were propelled by something he felt deeply in his heart. If he felt the truth of something, he followed his heart. And it was that heart that led him to certain actions, led him to compose that song and sing it out loud and very definite. To me, he was my gosser. I loved him for a lot of reasons. But as he grew older, I just loved him for his steadfast honouring of the truth wherever, and how he defended the people who were marginalised wherever that might happen. He wasn't limited by borders or flags or colour of skin. He had a heart for all the humanity, and he felt things deeply when wrongs were being done. He felt he was playing his part to put the rights for humanity first over monetary gain and over other. That was his priority. He was very clear about that. He never got pulled into the popular notions of reasons for this or that. He was very well connected to his own moral compass and his own sense of right or wrong that came well before any laws were ever invented. It was an innate thing in him. Again, it all stems from the heart. Everything, I keep coming back to the heart. I feel in the last 3 weeks since we got this news, I feel my heart has swollen with all the beautiful messages we have received from people all over the place. While the news is sad, there's something very good happening at the same time, right alongside that. And Finbar didn't identify with the small stuff or building up his fortune or any other things interested him. He was mad into his books and reading always and gathering information, and he definitely, people have said he was brave and courageous, but he didn't just die with courage, he lived with that courage. It was evident in his everyday dealings with us in the family and with the people he met. I have been challenged myself by him on many occasions if I was a little bit out of line. I definitely remember one clear incident when he was only about 14 or 15 and I was doing one of my mammy lectures guiding about drugs and drug pushers. It was sort of topical that time. And he let me have my spiel, and at the end of it he called me, he just said quietly, "Did you ever consider, Mum, that you're a drug pusher?" And I hadn't ever considered it. But he had that knack of getting you phrasing a question in such a way that you would have to look a bit deeper and see, I felt a hypocrite anyway. I felt I had to really look. There was some truth to what he was saying. I was born in the pub and it never occurred to me that running a bar was being in alliance with drug pushers. But he just didn't take anything skin deep. He looked below and he got everyone to take account and take responsibility for their part. And so nothing was just to please. He had courage in a lot of ways because he had lots of good qualities, but courage seems to be the umbrella for a lot of them. He was kind in the family. He was the eldest, and he definitely played along and tolerated a lot of teasing and playing from the younger ones. But he had intellectual courage too. He wouldn't just make an assumption or make a call about something without first delving deep into it and seeing if it was true and researching from different angles. And he would come to a conclusion then based on his findings. And he just had everyday courage. He'd say what was right or what was wrong, and he was a defender definitely of the weak. And that included, there's so many groups of people that feel marginalised, women being one. He admired, societies where the women were treated with equal respect. And mutual respect was how he dealt with people and how he lived with people, including me. There was a mutual respect between us. I remember visiting him in Dublin one time and I can't remember the names of the friends, but visiting the house, I felt I was treated like the Queen, everything laid out and every effort made to make me feel welcome and introduce me to his friends. And I felt I was the mother of all the gang that were gathered because they were all treating me well, and I felt definitely like the guest in the house that evening, and I was really well cared for. And that was how Finbar, there was a kindness in him that wasn't spoken, it was just in his presence. I'm his mammy, and I'm biased anyway. I could come up with lots of stories, but in my heart I know he was a good man. He would never hurt anyone. He's fondly remembered in all our hearts, and I am always in his heart and he's always in mine. And in that plane, he's not gone. Because I feel him very much. It's like there's a place where in the family chain, it's like a link has gone physically. But that's not, there's another realm where he's very much here, and I've never felt more connected to him than I have in the last 3 weeks. Feeling the love and connection, it's like I feel him, there's nothing separating that realm where that love is just flowing freely, and that so on that realm, that is very much the circle that's dancing, is the love and support. That will never go away. That does not die. And that's a cord that can never be cut. And that's in every one of us. All your hearts are here and felt. It's beautiful to stand up here and feel all of you with me, whether it's just in the room, everyone who has gathered and come to pay their respects. It's a beautiful thing to feel ye hearts connecting in this way, even though it's a sad occasion. That's the beauty of man and woman and humanity coming together. No matter what happens on this plane, we support and love one another. And there are no barriers and there's no divisions, only the ones that get created in our minds. There really are no divisions. So I'm grateful for all the support and the heart exchanges that we're having with all of you. Finbar, I am always in your heart, and you are always in my heart. We are always in your heart, and you are always in our hearts.
On Raglan Road of an autumn day, her first and new, that her dark hair would weave a snare, that I might one day rue. I saw the danger and I passed along the enchanted way, and I said, let grief be a fallen leaf at the dawning of the day. On Grafton Street in November, we trip lightly along the ledge of the deep ravine where can be seen the worth of passion's pledge. The Queen of Hearts still making tarts, and I not making hay. Oh, I loved too much, and by such is happiness thrown away. I gave her gifts of the mind, I gave her the secret sign that's known to the artists who have known the true gods of sound and stone, and word and tint without stint, for I gave her poems to say, with her own name there and her own dark hair, like clouds over fields of May. On a quiet street where old ghosts meet, I see her walking now, away from me so hurriedly. My reason must allow that I had loved not as I should, a creature made of clay. When the angel woos, the play he'd lose his wings at the dawn of the day.
I want to acknowledge and express gratitude to the people who led the way for Finbar to live the life the way he chose to. the writers who influenced him, the friends who loved him, the people who shaped him and his thinking, and the causes that called him. I want to offer our compassion to anyone suffering injustice or oppression, to anyone displaced in this world, to the Ukrainian people whose struggle continues, to anyone whose voice is quietened. May courage and kindness overcome fear and hurt. I want to acknowledge our mother and father for our happy childhood, for the varied, entertaining and solid upbringing they gave us, for providing the encyclopedias and limitless reading that fed Finbar, for their encouragement to think for ourselves and to challenge the status quo, for their support of Finbar to follow his own moral compass and sense of justice, for the knowing that they had to let him go to do his thing in this world, despite their own fears for him. I offer love and gratitude for both of you. Guimish son na síochána, son dóchas, agus son arndrachar Finbar, gur dórfar a bhaile dá chúvnas síri.
Nahar a tarnav gni for danam gadagad the rev gnieta the haller and talam or an internav.
Orn all lady, ordering a new, smite on our vika, nor machmash the veteran pain, knowledge in it up, searching all.
Shade the Vahawira tall on the grass, the ton shuna lat, the spanning region wrong, Spaniel Tarabranisa.
And he were a water jay, bearing a packilish of the rural motion.
Shade the Vahawira tall on the grass, the ton shuna lat, the spanning region wrong, Spaniel Tarabranisa.
And he were a water jay, bearing a packilish of the rural motion.
Shade the Vahawira tall on the grass, the ton shuna lat, the spanning region wrong, Spaniel Tarabranisa.
And he were a water jay, bearing a packilish of the rural motion.
Shade the Vahawira tall on the grass, the ton shuna lat, the spanning region wrong, Spaniel Tarabranisa.
And he were a water jay, bearing a packilish of the rural motion.
Shade the Vahawira tall on the grass, the ton shuna lat, the spanning region wrong, Spaniel Tarabranisa.
And he were a water jay, bearing a packilish of the rural motion.
Shade the Vahawira tall on the grass, the ton shuna lat, the spanning region wrong, Spaniel Tarabranisa.
And he were a water jay, bearing a packilish of the rural motion.
Shade the Vahawira tall on the grass, the ton shuna lat, the spanning region wrong, Spaniel Tarabranisa.
And he were a water jay, bearing a packilish of the rural motion.
Shade the Vahawira tall on the grass, the ton shuna lat, the spanning region wrong, Spaniel Tarabranisa.
And he were a water jay, bearing a packilish of the rural motion.
Shade the Vahawira tall on the grass, the ton shuna lat, the spanning region wrong, Spaniel Tarabranisa.
And he were a water jay, bearing a packilish of the rural motion.
Shade the Vahawira tall on the grass, the ton shuna lat, the spanning region wrong, Spaniel Tarabranisa.
And he were a water jay, bearing a packilish of the rural motion.
Glór den aharagus an wach agus an spirit near.
Mar violus, mar tonish, mar beth for all, the seal, amen.
Launches, is father of a strocht on major as anakun Mohrua Mora Gachacher is more ban is posti ataik shilusu Arin
nor bheag an tá chuin bert ná trú ach lách ó brá leis gan rí gan báiste is lá na bháid acu ascuib hiú.
Báil an leabhart faoi Finbar feachúpla nóméid mar dreithart á lán ráte le caiicí sin ús faoin duine bhí Finbar ach báil an just leabhart faoi chunas bhí sé mar dreithar agus an sais tioncar a bhí aige. There's so many nice things said about Finbar the last couple of weeks that and it's easy to get sort of like caught up in all the pride of it, but it's really important for me anyway, and for us I think to really be able to think and talk about him as he was as a brother. So I'm just going to try and give you an idea of that. And obviously some of the things that people are talking about, like how courageous and sort of independent minded, they were very evident as a child and as we were growing up. He definitely always had his own mind and would have asked a lot of hard questions of adults, and I can't ever really remember being afraid. I've so many memories of him as a kid reading these books that were nearly too big for him to hold. And these big broadsheet newspapers that it would be flopping in on top of him. I just sort of thought I was the fourth of five, and I just thought that's what the oldest sibling had to do. They had to like learn stuff, steer the others, keep everyone on track. I remember when he was, I only found out about this afterwards. When he was about 5, he read about Santa in an encyclopedia, and he didn't tell anyone else anything else about it, but he figured it out fairly quick on his own. And a lot of the time you'd come to him asking him about stuff and he'd just tell you to go look it up. I don't know, was he just encouraging us to have the same sort of curious spirit, or did he just not want to be entertaining our stupid questions? Both are likely. So when I look back on it, and I never thought this at the time, but he was definitely something of a rock in our family. He was a really solid presence, and you'd always feel a bit safer when he's around, but you wouldn't realise it till he wasn't there. So he wasn't like an assertive sort of a dominant figure, but his very presence was really comforting, and he was silly and sort of mischievous like any other kid, but there wouldn't be much bullying when he was around. He made sure everything was fair amongst us and amongst whoever else was there. And as he got older, as most of you know, he wasn't like a very big talker, but what he had was worth listening to. Everything he said, he never wasted a word, and you could talk to him about things, but he wouldn't mollycoddle you. He wasn't going to tell you what you wanted to hear. He was going to give you very solid and considered advice, and he probably minded me a lot more than I realised. And as Mum was saying, he was kind, but not in the usual sense. It was a sort of steadier, more formidable type of kindness. If you asked him for help, he did bring it 100%. And then as he sort of became an adult, he started going away, and he'd go away for long periods, as we all know. He's never great at keeping in contact. You'd get these emails, all well, 2 words. And that'd be it. You knew he was all right, but at the same time, then he'd travel. He'd make long journeys to connect with people, with friends and with family, just to be with them. I think he really valued the sitting down beside you, even if he wasn't saying anything. It really mattered to him to be beside you. And he could drive you daft as well, because you might be only coming down from Castlebar and he'd ring you and say, "I'm on the train, pick me up." Really sort of, I kind of started to be entertained by that about him as I went along, because everyone would be wearing, Finbar missed his ferry, or Finbar, something's going wrong. And the one person that wouldn't be wearing was Finbar. But heaven and earth would move and he'd make it home. And he kind of lived blissfully unaware of these minor inconveniences, and he didn't really care about small dramas. He was moving through the world at his own steady pace. And yeah, so he was quite serious, but throughout his life he was sort of learning, and his thinking was expanding all the time. But he's kind of kept this silly, childish sense of humour that was very endearing. He'd get a great kick out of reading some article in the Mayo News about something someone said in court or something like that, and he'd be laughing his head off, these big knee slapping kind of full body laughs about something that mightn't even be that funny, but he'd just keep saying it enough until it was funny. You kind of be. And yeah, I love being with him on a car journey. You'd be not a word out of him for 5 or 10 minutes until you'd find something that'd get him talking. You could pick his brain on something. You might hear some story he'd never told any of us about some episode in the Middle East or North Mayo, and the car would be shaking with that big laugh at some dodgy signpost or ad or something. And I really love stepping into his world with him from time to time, just meeting all the really interesting friends he'd gathered along the way, just seeing how light and at home he was around them, and he really managed to find his tribe wherever he went. And yeah, so in our family he knew everything, and we would have always deferred to him from Finbar and everything. But about 10 years ago he brought a friend down for a weekend who just kept sort of challenged him on a few things and found he was wrong about a few things, and it was like our world collapsed. So we really didn't. We refused to believe anything he said for a while after that, and he thought that was hilarious. I suppose I'm just really grateful for having had Finbar in my life, and he's had a huge effect on me. He's had a huge effect on us all. And even though we're gathered here because he's passed, I'm still half expecting him to walk in the door, because that's just always what happened. Everyone, he'd just reappear. He was this sort of steady, ever-present figure in our lives, and he came and went, but you always knew he was there. So yeah, I can't believe I'm just not going to get another phone call to pick him up at some really inconvenient time, and he'll arrive and all will be forgiven as soon as you see him with that big smile and just a rucksack with whatever he owned in the world, or that he won't have that big laugh shaking the whole car, or that you won't have his calm, steady presence and get his solid, considered advice. So I'm really proud of how he lived and everything he stood for. I think we're all better for having known, but it's just really hard to believe that my big brother is gone and that he's not going to come back. Lavelle, the Rishan, Finbar and Orla.
We're going to finish up with a quote from John O'Donoghue. If you want to all stand up and hold hands with whoever's beside you, just may I have the courage today to live the life that I would love, to postpone my dream no longer, but do at last what I came here for, and waste my heart on fear no more. Thank you all for coming, guys. And
Thank you.